Hi everybody, I'm Regina Sellers and I am the creator of all the Pro Bow products. Next in our little series, if you're making our little Easter bunny this year, because I've put a backing on it and we've put words in it. The little bunny that I've made before, they had really long tails that went all the way down to the feet. But this year we've put words into our little bunny, and so we don't want long tails. So now I'm going to make a big beautiful Terri bow, and I know you're going to enjoy it. So let's begin. We're going to be making our big beautiful Terri bow for our big bunny on row D. We're going to be using fingers 1 through 6, and please notice that I have put my 2 taller dowels and for finger 6, because I'm going to be using 4-inch ribbon. It's just going to be beautiful. I can't wait for you to see it. So anyway, so let's just begin making our Terri bow. So I'm starting with this beautiful green, it's like a celery green. Y'all, all the ribbon that I'm using in this particular bow, I bought from Brian Lane Designs. So please go check him out, brianlanedesigns.com. Okay, that's where I got all of this beautiful ribbon. Okay, so I'm going to measure my tail. I want my tail to be just a tad, just barely that, maybe an inch longer than my loop. So I'm going to measure that way. And so there's my pinch. That's how long I want my tail. I'm doing this kind of a little different than I did in the beginning. I left my tails a little longer. For some reason, I've started making my tails just a little shorter, and I don't have to trim up as much whenever I'm fluffing my bow. Here I'm using my 26 gauge wire. 1, 2, okay, around twice. I'm putting this in the middle, drop it through the slot, wrap it around. That's holding that's really locking in our wire. Okay, go around the nail just once, y'all. That's all you need to do, no more than that. It's just not necessary. Okay, I always show I'm using my fingers. Smooth, easy glide. Just drop it there, get my tail out of the way. Okay, y'all will always come in sideways because I want to watch what I'm doing. Here's my pinch, beautiful little pinch. Okay, little gather there, bottoms up. I'm gonna hold it with my thumb like this. Smooth, easy little glide. Drop it over, come back to my center. Here's a very pretty little gather. Y'all, don't do a fold over. Your bow just will not fluff as pretty. Okay, it makes a big difference. If you just fold your ribbon over, it's just come out flat. Okay, your loops will be flat looking. Okay, now we're going to use our helping hand wire. Again, 26 gauge wire. Never ever more than that, because you just don't want to bulk up the stack of your bow. As we're making our bow and it's coming out, that's called the stack of your bow. You don't want to bulk up your stack of your bow with wire. Okay, this wire this is your helping hand wire. It's just going to hold everything in place for you. And why do we have to use the helping hand wire? Because I'm getting ready to cut this piece of ribbon. Okay, and there's nothing to hold it in place. That's why we're using our helping hand wire. Y'all fall in love with your helping hand wire. It's so easy. Look at that. You can let go at any time. Okay, I just use the helping hand wire just constantly, always. It just makes it so easy. Okay, that's cut, and that's our first ribbon. Here we go. Let's go to our second. I'm going to dovetail. Y'all, do a really shallow dovetail. If you want to dovetail, do a shallow dovetail, especially on 1-inch ribbon. If you do a real deep dovetail, then they kind of flop. It'll twist under or up. If you do a shallow dovetail on especially 1-inch ribbon, that won't happen. Okay, see how it's still standing up nice? It's like I didn't even cut it. Okay, so I'm using my dowel as my measurement. Now this is a little different than I in my very first videos. I just find that I kind of like my tails this long, and I don't have to do as much trimming. Okay, so there's my measurement. Here's my pretty gather. See how I'm just gathering that up? I'm not folding over. Okay, it just won't fluff as pretty. You won't get that big beautiful fluff on your bow. Okay, and then you just sit it here, use your helping hand wire, and just tie it in. Y'all, how simple is that? Just go around once. That's all you need. Just once, hold it in place. Okay, get this out of your way. Always like this, smooth, easy glide. Never have cramped fingers. Never desperately holding on to your bow, hoping that it's gonna everything's gonna stay in place. That's why this is called the hand. It's doing everything for you. Okay, all you're doing is just putting your ribbon where you want it to be, twining ribbon between the dowels, and everybody can make just a perfect, beautiful bow every time. Okay, because the hand, the bow maker, is doing all the work for you. Here we go, using our helping hand wire. Once around, that's all, that's enough. Okay, and now we're going to cut this off. Very shallow little dovetail there. Okay, I'm going to bring this down. Now, because this is my feature ribbon, y'all, if y'all follow me, you've heard me before, especially in a Terri bow, my ribbon that I have picked everything to go with, I call it my feature ribbon, is the ribbon that I love the best in the whole bow. I've picked everything else to go with it. I put it in the 3rd position. Okay, and because I love this ribbon so much, I really want you to see it a lot. So you see how I put one, this is 2 loops? We're going to do 4 loops of this because I really want you to see this ribbon. Okay, I just love little bunnies, and so I really wanted to really stand out. And you can do that. You can make that decision whenever you're making your bows. The ribbon that you want to stand out, you can put more loops of it. You don't have to put equal loops. Okay, and you see how I'm just sitting that in place? I'm just pulling my wire down. I'm just going around once. That's it. See how you get the tail out of your way? Smooth, easy glide. See how I'm just, these 2 fingers, and you see how I'm just flipping it. I'm just flipping it off of my index finger. Just flip it off, drop it down. That's all there is to it. Okay, pretty little gather. Your bows are just going to fluff prettier. Okay, hold your thumb there, pull it around, drop it over. Here is your pretty little pinch, or little gather, whichever way you want to call it, and just set it in place, letting the bow maker do all the work for you because it's holding everything. This is why it's named the hand. Hand is holding everything for you. Fall in love with this helping hand wire. Look at that, holding everything in place. Now, I've had some ladies who have contacted me, and they said that they just don't particularly like putting a ribbon over, going over that ribbon again. And they were like, okay, what can we do about that? I said, well, that's just no problem, because you have wired this in place. Absolutely nothing in this bow is going to move. So look what we're going to do. We're just going to pick it up off of the dowel and just set it in here. We're going to pick it up off the dowel and we're going to set it here. And that's all there is to it. They're out of the way. Nothing's moving on us because we have it all tied here, and we can go back and use this dowel, and we don't have to go over our ribbon again. How's that? Pretty neat, huh? So there it is. Here's our pretty little gather. Just hold your thumb there. You don't want that to slip on you. See how I kind of opened that already? That's fluffing. I'm fluffing as I go. See how I opened that? I'm going to have a beautiful fluffed up loop. Okay, I'm coming back to the center and right smack dab down the center here. This is the exact dead center of the bottom of your bow. I'm making a pretty little gather. I'm sitting this in place, and you see how I've tucked that up. You see that? I'm fluffing my bow already. I made a pretty gather. This is up, that's down, and you see how that's popped up already. That's just gonna really poof. That's gonna give me a nice poof. Okay, and now I'm gonna wire it in place with my helping hand wire. Boom. That's it. That's all there is to it. I'm going to bring this up here, and I'm using this dowel as my measurement for my cut. It's a little different than I used to do it, okay? You know how you kind of evolve over time? I just found that I was going back and trimming them down to just almost the size of my loop, so I just started using my dowel as my measurement anyway. Okay. Here we are with our next ribbon. I just love this glitter. I just love anything that shines. I just absolutely love it. Okay, look at the beautiful little Easter eggs. I'm just in love with this. Okay, there's our measurement. Y'all, how easy is this? I mean, anybody can make a perfect Terri bow on your first attempt. All you're doing is you're pinching ribbon, you're wiring it in place, and you're making it going around dowels. It just simply couldn't be easier. Okay, you can get your pro bow. You can make a Terri bow. Use up all your scraps. You can see that I've used all these different ribbon. You don't need, if you've been crafting a long while, you have tons of, if you're like me, you have tons of rolls of ribbon that has just a little bit on them. I even made a video where I have 13 different ribbon. I'm making sure that I'm using up every little bit of ribbon that I have. Okay? And this is just extraordinarily easy. There's my little pinch. There's my pinch and twist. We all know in bow making it's about that pinch and twist. But you see how I'm holding that in place with my thumb? I'm going to drop that over. I'm coming back to the center. Dead center of the bottom of my bow. There's my pretty little gather. Sit it in place. Wire it in place. And that's all there is to it. And just go around once. There is no reason on earth to go around more than once. There is no reason to do that. Okay? So that's all there is to it. No point in overdoing any step. And if you just go round and round with this wire, y'all, this is just little craft wire. It's just 26 gauge and it'll break on you anyway. So all that's necessary is to go around once. Okay? Look at this next ribbon. I just am in love with this paisley. It just gives this bow so much dimension. These all these different patterns because of the colors, because of it has all the colors just match so beautifully that I'm able to use all of these patterns, and it just makes for an extraordinary bow. I just love tons of patterns together. Okay. And I'm so happy that y'all get to watch this and see this, and you can see how many patterns that you can put together, and then you can give it a try. Because this is 6 different patterns that I've put together here. Okay. Use that, always go to that helping hand wire. Fall in love with your helping hand wire. Let it hold everything for you. And let's get that off. There you go. And now watch this. We're going to put this gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous Dupioni silk turquoise in the back. Y'all, whenever I'm making bows, you can see that this is my deepest color. This is my deepest color, so I'm putting it in the back. This is going to be the back of my bow, and since this is the deepest color and solid, it's just going to draw my eye all the way through my bow. And so that's the reason why I'm putting this ribbon in that position. It's a solid color. We have enough print, enough pattern going on. Now I'm going to use this ribbon to just draw your eye in, okay? So there's my measurement. Don't be afraid to use your 4-inch ribbon. 4-inch ribbon is getting very, very popular. You can handle your 4-inch ribbon if you're using your Pro Bow because it's holding everything for you anyway. Okay, let's put this tail here. See how you can just let it sit there? You can take your ribbon. And still doing this, I can just handle this 4-inch ribbon with my finger, just drop it over. You can use 2 fingers if you like. Okay, see how that just goes around there just beautifully? Come to your center. See those pretty little gathers? See all those little gathers I'm making? That is just going to make all the difference in the world in your bow. I'm just taking that extra little time, that extra little moment there to gather instead of just haphazardly, instead of just being haphazard in any way. Now since I'm getting a very deep, we're getting really deep on the stack of our bow. If that might want to move on you, don't be afraid. You can go ahead and you can use your helping hand wire in this position again. Let's see. Look, it's right there. There it is. If you want to, you can tie that. You can tie that off there if you want to, because you're getting really far out in your stack. If that bothers you, if that moves on you, you don't like it, go ahead and tie it off. Okay? That's kind of decision on your part, especially since this is 4-inch ribbon. You want to make sure that your gathers stay really pretty. You can use that helping hand wire as many times as you want. Okay, and tie it off. Okay, that's it, y'all. That's all there is to it. I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna make my dovetail. And we're done. We have made our bow. Now let's get it off of the bow maker. Now what I'm going to do before I take this off, now of course we have to go back and get our original wire. Okay, you see how I'm going to push this in? I'm going to carefully push this in. If I can tighten my bow up. Now I'm not flipping this over. You still have to keep the stack of your bow, you know, but just, okay, you see where I'm holding my hand? Because I'm pushing, because I'm going to push hard against this dowel. I'm going to push hard, but I'm just going to push this in and see if it moves any. It's really not moving on me much. It's not moving on me much at all, but this moved just a little bit. I'm kind of tightening up my bow, but I'm still keeping my stack straight because I'm pushing up from underneath with my finger. I have my finger kind of under there because I want to keep my stack of my bow straight. You see how I'm still keeping, but I'm kind of tightening that up. If it will, it moved just a little bit, and you want to tighten it up if it will. Okay, you can try that. Okay, so there, I know I've got that as tight as that's going to go. I'm going to come now and come back and get my top wire, jiggle it off. Okay, and here's my helping hand wire. Just kind of just push it out your way. I'm going to hold my top wire. I'm going to come underneath here and just flip it off the nail. That's the reason why you go around your nail just once. That's all you need to. And I'm tightening this up. And that's it. And that's all there is to it. Okay, and now here are your 2 wires. This was your 2 original, and this is your helping hand wires. I've seen people, I don't do anything with them. People ask me all the time, well, what do you do with them? I don't do anything. they're just there. That's all, they're just there. I've seen people sit here and try to plait them and do all kind of things. You can use these wires to attach your bow to whatever you want to attach it to. Okay, you can use those wires. So I just leave them. In this case, because my bunny's white, and since the stack of this is so deep, and because I have a lot in the top of my bow, these wires are not going to show, but I'm going to add this white wire, okay, because I'm going to use this to attach this to my bunny. This is how I'm going to attach my bow to my bunny, with a white wire, because if I'm going to sell this, okay, I'm going to roll these up and kind of tuck them to the back, and then I'll use these white wires to attach everything, because I want everything to just show white and nice and clean and crisp. Okay, so that is the reason why I'm putting this wire in for now, because that is how, in this particular case, because everything is so white, I've added this, and you'll see that in the top, you really won't see it once I fluff, but just in case, from the back, you'll be able to see the white wire. Okay, that's if you're going to be really picky. That's why I did that. Okay, let's get the bow maker out of the way. Let's use our fluff box, and let's fluff up this beautiful bow. Slide your wire. And in this case, look, I'm just gonna let these two wires just sit over here. I don't have to do a thing with them. Okay, just let them kind of be out the way. I'm gonna use these two wires to attach to my fluff box, and that's it. Don't have to worry about the wires. Okay, so how do we fluff a Terri bow? Tail, put a little sass on the end of it. You always want to always when I fluff a Terri bow, I start from the bottom and I work up, always, because it's all about positioning your loops. Okay, you just don't start randomly pulling ribbon. That's not how a Terri bow works. So I'm going to fluff up and put a little sass on the end of that. Okay, so I'm doing a tail, and I'm going to put a tail across from it. Okay, and see how I'm going to start working up and come out, put just a little sass, put, you want it up. It's like a waterfall. You want your loops to come up and then out. And I put just a little sass on them there. And then, so what I want you to notice is that you make a cross. Tail, tail, loop, loop. Okay? And you see how I push all the way to the center? You see how I put my hand all the way to the center? It makes all the difference in the world how you fluff. Okay, and now I'm opening that up, and because I have this on my fluff box, see how I can just flip this around. I'm putting my hand in here. I want that to open all the way to the center. Make this do what you want it to do, and there you go. And that is how you start fluffing your Terri bow. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to angle my fluff box just a little bit, because I'm going to do the same thing. Tail, tail, loop, loop. Okay, so here's my next ribbon. Tail. And what you do is you just move over. You just move over a little bit, and because you're stacking from the bottom up, and then whenever you're done and when you look into your bow, you'll see all of your ribbon from the front to the back. Okay, so go up, put a little sass right there. You can flip it around if you want. Make sure that this tail goes here. And see how I'm putting it in between? And you see how I'm going all the way to the center and just putting a little kick on the end? Okay. And now I'm going to put a loop. I'm pulling my loop. On every ribbon, it's a cross. And if you do this, if you open a Terri bow very methodically, okay, and if you open it this way and just pay attention, and you do tail, tail, loop, loop, and you make a cross every time, whenever you get to the end, you're ta-da, and you don't have to do another thing to it. It's perfect. Okay? And so you see how I'm keeping loop, loop, tail, 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 loop. And that's it. And you just work around your bow. You just placing your ribbon in positions, and your bow will be absolutely perfect, and you'll just have an outstanding bow when you're done. Okay? So now, because I have 2 loops here, and this comes out this way every time. You're going to have 2 loops together, and you're going to have 2 tails together. Okay, see how you go around? You're going to have 2 tails, you're going to have two loops. So you automatically know whenever you get to this next ribbon, because you have 2 tails, you want to put a loop there. So now you're going to pull this around. Your next ribbon is going to be a loop, and it's going to sit between these 2 tails. You can turn this around if you like. That way you don't, if you have your fluff box, you don't have to be reaching over your bow and messing anything up. You see how you have your 2 tails? In this position, you're going to pull this over, and you're going to open up a loop over these 2 tails. Okay? And then likewise, because you have 2 loops here, you're just going to pull your tail here. You're going to put a tail here. And you want to play with it. You want to really fluff it from the center, make it come up, and give it a little sass on the end. It's like a waterfall. You want your bow to start opening and then fluffing out. And that's how you'll have just a beautiful Terri bow. Okay? Let's see. Okay, I have to come back to this tail. See the tail? I want this tail to be up. See how I'm pushing it up? From the dead center, up, and then put a little kick on the end. And then you just place in your ribbon. Okay? All right. Now we're getting to the next level where I did 2 loops of each ribbon. Okay? So let's see. I'm going to place my tail first. And I think I'm going to put the tail about right here. Sit that back up. Come on. Behave. Sit up. See? And now I'm going to have 2 loops. I'm going to pull a loop. And you see, y'all, see how crucial the fluff box becomes? This is almost just completely impossible to do if you don't have your fluff box. Because you can see I am putting the ribbon where I want it to be. And I mean, if I was just holding this with one hand and trying to just jerk all of this ribbon around, it just wouldn't do. You just would not end up with a pretty finished product if you were trying to do this with one hand. Okay? You see how our bow is developing? And now here is our 2 loops here. Let's turn it, and you see how I keep just turning it? See how, now look at that. Look at all of that. See how all of that's developed? See how your bow's coming together? And it's just perfect. And you can see through. You can see the back of what's behind everything. And it just comes out perfectly. You just make an X each time. So I have an X here, so I want to pull the tail. I'm going to pull the tail over here. X, X, loops, loop. Now on this, it's going to be X, X, loop, 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 loop. Okay? And I'm going to open my 2 loops here. This is my favorite ribbon of this bow. So I just wanted you to see more of it because it's my favorite ribbon of the whole bow. Everything else just works with it. All of these colors are within this bow. Okay, and I have it in the 3rd position. It shows the best. I have 1-inch ribbon on top of it, so it doesn't cover it up once I move this all around. So you see how that's all developing, and it's just a matter of just placing your loops. Okay, let's see. Here's some loops right here, so I'm gonna pull this little tail right here, and there's the tail. So I'm gonna put a loop over it. Look at that ribbon. Is that just to die for? That is just to die for. This yellow, I can't tell you how much I love this. Okay, put a little sass on it, make it come up, and then kind of just flip on the end. Isn't it wonderful? Let's turn this. Okay. Since I have a tail over there, I'm going to make sure I'm pulling this tail over here. Okay. And I'm going to put that little kick on the end. I'm going to make it kind of go in, up, in and up. Okay. And now I'm going to, since I have a tail here, I'm going to pull this tail out over here. And you see how because I can use both of my hands, because I have this on the fluff box. And once you get up to here, you're almost just going straight up with your ribbon. Okay, it's almost just straight up. Okay, because that's what a terry bow is about it coming up and then out. Okay, and let's see, there's the tail. So I'm gonna put this green over here, and I'm gonna put this little green loop over here, this little tail right here. And y'all, that's it. Everything is in position. I don't have to worry about the position of any of my loops. They're all right where they belong, all right where I want them to be. I might want to come back in and kind of raise some of my loops because I want it up, coming up. Okay, and that's it. That is our perfect Easter terry bow. Absolutely perfect for our bunny rabbit. So how's that? Don't you just love it? I hope that y'all will enjoy making a terry bow. They're incredibly easy. As you can see, all you do is just get your pro bow, get your fluff box, and you can see how you can just perfectly maneuver and manipulate. Y'all manipulate your ribbon, make your ribbon do what you want it to do, and just come out with absolutely beautiful, fluffed, big old bows. Okay? That's it. That's it for now. I hope y'all have enjoyed this. ProBowTheHand.com. Thank you so much. Bye for now.